Welcome to an uncommonly cold day in Greece. The river, well, the river Styx, the river Echelon. Fast flowing. This is Arctic, cold water, but beautiful. But yeah, no sun today and a little bit of rain. So I thought I'd do one of my walk and talks and talk about getting back together with Little Angels. Seem to fit. So as you can see behind me, here, fast flowing waters of the Echelon, like I say. So I thought I'd just take this opportunity, given the fact it's a bit cold today and we're out on a bit of a bus trip. We like a bit of a bus trip when we come away. To talk a little bit about Little Angels, I guess, you know, and because I haven't chatted to you about it since the announcement. Yeah, what does it mean? Well, I guess it means a lot of things, really. Revisiting the good old days in a lot of ways. Putting to bed a few ghosts. But mainly, I think, you know, reconnecting with each other, reconnecting with the music. And I think, you know, not just reminiscing, but actually a bit of a rebirth. Because I think actually we all feel quite compelled to carry on doing this a little bit longer than just this one tour. So that's the first bit of news. Now, what that really constitutes is anyone's guess at the moment, but really what we're concentrating on, well, because what we're concentrating on is getting ready for the tour, which is obviously November, starts in November. And yeah, one of the biggest tours we've actually ever done, weirdly. 16 dates, consecutive dates. I did announce earlier on in an interview it was one of the longest tours we'd ever done, but actually I think we did do sort of 17, 18 dates before, but you know, we always used to get around a little bit. So yeah, pretty big tour. And what we intend to do this time is to do a bit of a deep dive into some of our recorded history, not just do the sort of what people would regard as the hits or the most popular songs. We're going to do some tunes that we haven't ever played live. I think there's a couple we've never played live, potentially, and some that we haven't played live for a long time, because we didn't want this just to be a kind of retreading of 2012. I mean, just to put it into context, 2012 really was an opportunity for us all, I guess, kind of put our arms around each other and say, isn't it great to be back? And it was a lot to do with obviously the sad death of poor old Michael Lee. You know, we wanted to celebrate him, so a lot of the emphasis was really on that, feeling kind of that reconnection, but this time it's absolutely different. So why is it different? Well, I think it's because, do you know, it's a weird one. You have to sort of find a way of getting all the ducks in a row when you're in a band. Being in a band's a difficult job. It is, it's tough. I know people say, oh, it must be really easy, blah, 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 but actually holding a band together is really difficult. Takes a lot of commitment, and also it can easily come undone, you know. It's quite a sort of delicate thing, and as it showed, you know, at the height of Little Angel's success back in 1994, even with #1 record and top 10 40 hit records and all the rest of it, and successful tours, we found it difficult to keep it going. But I'm not going to dwell on all those details, because we're not talking about that kind of sense of the past. We're talking about the future. We're talking about what we want to do and what this tour means to us and how that's going to go. Well, I guess the first thing to say is, yes, we feel compelled to not just do this one tour, but carry on. And indeed, we're talking to promoters about doing various things into 2027 and into 2028. And there is the conversation about doing some recording. Now, I cannot confirm or deny, my dear friends, whether that's actually going to happen as yet, but watch this space. It's looking pretty good, and that is from the horse's mouth. I know there was a little bit of debate online recently about whether the quote that was used in classic rock about me saying there was an 80% chance of it happening. Well, actually, I did say that, and I will stand by that. There is an 80% chance that we will record and we'll do something, but you know, it's tentative. You know, we don't know what that's going to be yet. We've got some ideas. We started working on sort of bits and planning, but yeah, I think suffice to say, this feels a lot more like a kind of like a restart rather than just like a return to just doing a few gigs. So the set, so what we're going to do about that? So yes, like I say, we're going to try and do some unusual tunes. We've sort of had several meetings where we sat down and sort of talked about songs available to us and what they meant to us. And I think one of the sort of driving forces about this tour is to kind of get into the sort of real foundations of why the band were successful, how we, you know, came into being, what those songs at the time, big puddle there, look, even in Greece there's puddles, but what those songs meant to us at the time and how they echoed down through the band's career and how they led on to you know, writing the bigger songs further down in our career. And I think there is a kind of real trajectory there, and I think it's going to be really cool to explore that. And so we're sort of, I guess not chronologically, we're not doing it in chronological order, but we are using the chronology of the band, if you like, as a jumping off point. And so yeah, I think we've chosen some pretty cool songs, some songs that I don't think you'll all necessarily expect. So yeah, very excited. We're all very excited for you to get your ears around that when you hopefully come to one of the venues. Yeah, I think it's going to be really great. Check it out. River Styx. So yeah, and you know, we've chosen venues. I mean, obviously we set off, I think, with 12 shows. We've ended up with 16 because we've only added 4, including a second London, because you guys have been so generous and, you know, sold out Shepherd's Bush Empire in 24 hours, etc. It's been really exciting. But, you know, we've tried to choose venues that we were associated with in the past. So when we kind of got the opportunity to add some more venues, we added Newcastle City Hall, which obviously is obviously for those of the Northeast, where we came from, it was a very popular venue for us to play. We headlined it a number of times over the years. So that got added. We obviously added Cardiff, which was another fantastic city for us to always play back in the day. Cardiff Bogies, you know, being one of the key venues that we used to play when we first ever went out on the road, you know. So yeah, we've tried hard to go back into venues that people recognise from the past. UEA is another one. What used to be called the Town and Country Club in Leeds, of course. Now it's the O2, of course, Academy, and the same in London. Great to be back in what we call the Town and Country Club, or it's now called the Forum. Played that a number of times over the years. So yeah, I think there's a lot of nostalgia associated with it, but also more than anything else, it's just fantastic rooms to play. And of course, one of the great things that's happening is we've got the Big Bad Horns back with us. Big Dave Kemp, or not so big Dave Kemp anymore. And Grant are coming back to play with the band. And you know, it's Mark Rich, he's back on drums, of course. So yeah, it feels really great, and lots of conversations. We're in constant contact with each other, discussing ideas for the stage set, backdrops, you know, how we're going to put the set together. And we start rehearsals in August. We've got a couple of weeks of rehearsals in August, then some more rehearsals I believe in mid-October. And then there'll be some more rehearsals, what we call production rehearsals, for a couple of weeks before the tour starts in November. So we should be very well prepared. So between now and then, lots of promo to do, lots of stuff to achieve, including that elusive recording, which we're hoping at some point to put together. Yeah, so yeah, all in all, really exciting. Looking forward to getting back out on the road and doing it with the guys. It's a funny feeling, really. It's a bit like opening a cupboard door, you know, or sort of opening a door onto a dusty old room. You know, it's all still intact. You just got to brush the cobwebs off and hoover it up and get on with it, you know, sort of thing. So bit of a crap analogy, I know that, but you know what I mean. So yeah, November can't come quick enough, and yeah, so thanks for your continued loyalty, folks. It really doesn't go unnoticed, and we really can't wait to get back out there. And then for me, you know, over the years, because I've been playing all these songs so much through my solo career, you know, going on the road and doing them not just as acoustic songs, but also played Little Angel songs in Wayward Sons, and we did my solo band several years ago. It feels good to be back doing it with the full band. So if you're looking forward to it as much as I am, then can't wait to see you down the front And, you know, again, I don't think this is about reliving old glories. I think, you know, inevitably this is about playing the old tunes, of course, through those 3 albums and the Big Bad EP and stuff. But really, yeah, like I say, we see it as a bit of a relaunch, and a way of kind of re-establishing what we meant as a band and the sound of the band, and hopefully taking that forward. And yeah, so all that remains to be said from a sort of, not wet, but a sort of slightly breezy, quite cold Echelon River in Greece, is, yeah, see you in November, can't wait, take care.